What's going on YouTube? Alex Desea here, and today we are going to talk about Matt Reeves' The Batman, an upcoming film. Since my last few videos were centered around Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, which are older films, I figured we would discuss some new Batman material. Don't worry, after this video we're going to take a break from Batman, perhaps moving on to a movie or TV show that I loathe instead of love. Since we've been talking about Batman, we might as well continue the conversation just a tad bit more. Now, all we have received thus far is a teaser trailer and a few set leak photos, but they are enough to allow us to predict what we're in for. So I'll just come out and say it. I'm digging this trailer. I'm very much looking forward to this film. It looks great. I'm very excited to see the performances of all these actors. As a huge Batman fan, I'm always excited to see a new take on the character, and hopefully Matt Reeves pulls it off. I think he will. I think he's a great director. He's done some really cool movies. War of the Planet of the Apes was really good, and he's made a bunch of other films, but I thought that was really well done, and if it's a similar style, I think we're in for something special. Now, with this trailer, it's obvious that this take on Batman will live up to the world's greatest detective nickname. The vibes I'm getting from this trailer are dark and grimy, similar to the Gotham City depicted in Todd Phillips' Joker. That's another great film. Now, in Joker, Gotham was bleak. There was garbage buildup in the streets. It seemed like a grimy kind of city, a crime-ridden hellhole, if you will. And this trailer is giving me similar vibes. The tone of this trailer makes me think that it's going to be similar to the tone of Joker. The tone of this film seems to be dark as well. The color palette of the trailer is dark and gritty, and these dark tones are very much appropriate for a Batman film. If the film was colorful and light, I think the tone would be a lot less suited for a Batman story. If it was colorful like a Spider-Man story, I don't think it would work. But this dark and gritty tone I'm getting, similar to Dark Knight trilogy's tone, I think it's going to be a good thing. And I'm loving the way this film is going to look. So Batman is at an early stage in his career. He's still a vigilante as opposed to an ally of Gotham City. His gear is still in its genesis stage. There are some shots in the trailer that portray a skeptical Gotham City Police Department. The first shot of when he's walking into the crime scene with Gordon, the cops are all looking at this freak dressed as a bat, and at the end of the trailer, Batman appears to be attempting to evade the cops, grappling up to the building. So it looks like in this film there's a serial killer on the loose, and that killer is the Riddler, and I'm really looking forward to seeing a good rendition of the Riddler. We got it back in the day with Jim Carrey, but honestly I just think that all the Batman films prior to Nolan's trilogy just suck in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to getting a different take on the Riddler, because we really haven't seen him in much film media. This rendition of the Riddler seems to be a cunning serial killer who, like the Joker in The Dark Knight, seems to have something to exploit or reveal, something to say about society, if you will. And therefore, having Catwoman in this film seems appropriate because she's a cunning burglar, and the contrast between the Riddler and the Catwoman seems interesting. I'm thinking that both of these characters will initially be foes of Batman, but perhaps Catwoman will end up being an ally, whereas Riddler obviously will not. I'm very curious to see new relationships unfold. Will Batman's relationship with Catwoman be intimate and personal, like a cat and mouse kind of story, or will it be more platonic? Same thing goes with Gordon. I'm hoping that Batman and Gordon strike up a great friendship, one where both parties respect the other. Now, I loved Anne Hathaway as Selena Kyle in The Dark Knight Rises, but Zoe Kravitz looks very convincing as a cat burglar. And similar to Batman, Catwoman's suit looks sort of thrown together and not very fancy nor expensive. Looks like her cat ears just consist of a beanie with sewn-on cloth ears. So the equipment of Batman and Catwoman seem to be in their respective genesis stages, and that will give the film much more of a grounded experience in my opinion. Hopefully these films are rooted in reality. And while we're on the subject of gear, the Batsuit looks awesome. It looks closer to Bale's Batman suit as opposed to Affleck's. Now, Bale was not too bulky, but Affleck was, and I preferred Affleck's Batsuit because it reminded me more of the comics. He really looked like this menacing Dark Knight, but obviously I like the Bale Batman way more. This film, Robert Pattinson is not a beefcake. His suit looks sort of thrown together, like I said, with scraps of material he had in the Batcave, and I think his Batmobile is the same way. It looks kind of decked out, but it seems like it was just thrown together. But it doesn't look like this film will have any superior physical threats. It will be most likely more of a psychological film. Now, I think Pattinson will be a great Bruce Wayne and Batman. He has proven himself to be a worthy actor to take on such an influential role. If you haven't seen The Lighthouse, please go see it. It is absolutely a great film. I am going to be making a video on that in time, but Let's stick to Batman for now. Pattinson seems like he will be an angry Batman, you know, young, youthful, full of rage, hungry for proving himself. I mean, for God's sakes, there's even a shot in the trailer where it looks like he's fighting cops in the GCPD. I mean, there's going to be some tension between Batman and the cops, especially in the beginning. Jeffrey Wright looks like a great Commissioner Gordon. His voice in those opening lines where he's reading the Riddler's letter to Batman gives me chills every time I listen to it. You all know how much I love Gary Oldman's version of Gordon, so it will be hard to top that for me, but I think Wright, like Pattinson, will make this role his own, and I'm really looking forward to his relationship with Batman blossoming. Colin Farrell as the Penguin looks great too. He seems like he'll be ruthless and crazy. There's a cool shot at the end of the trailer where it looks like he or his goons are shooting some guys, maybe in like a shady deal of sorts. Definitely looking forward to seeing Farrell, another great actor, in a Batman film. Now, with this story, there seems to be some sort of conspiracy going on in Gotham. The Riddler, at the very end of the trailer, explains to Bruce that his parents supposedly had something to do with whatever bad is happening in Gotham. I mean, he doesn't say your parents, he says that you are part of this as well, and I'm assuming that Wayne will learn something about his parents' legacy or their involvement in whatever the Riddler is involved with. I'm looking forward to watching Batman track this guy down while simultaneously discovering the truth of his past. And I think this will add something new to a Batman film, the possibility of the Waynes being part of something bad as opposed to the other way around. In Batman Begins, Thomas Wayne was sort of a martyr, you know, he was a doctor, so he was literally saving lives, but he built the public transportation for free for its citizens. You know, he did for the city, and in that film, Bruce Wayne ended up avenging his parents, but I think in this film, Batman's going to redeem his parents and their legacy. There is a great shot of Batman pummeling this thug into the ground, which literally sold me on this film. I was like, this is gonna be a great fucking film. And the thug that he beats up looks like he's sort of part of a Joker-ish gang. I mean, they look like the Joker, or they're trying to emulate the Joker. I have no idea what they are. It could just be a coincidence. They could just be, you know, their own characters not involved or affiliated with the Joker in any way, but they look like they are part of like a gang or part of a movement or something. Again, this seems to be like a violent Batman, but not one that kills, hopefully, which was one of the biggest flaws in Zack Snyder's version of Batman, in my opinion. I think this film will rank with some of the better comic book films. It doesn't look over the top. It doesn't look like it's going to have insane special effects. It looks like it's going to be a simple yet complex story that will hopefully highlight the best attributes of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Needless to say, I'm very excited. Apparently this film won't be released until 2022, which really sucks, but I do believe that the film is worth the wait. I think we're in for something very unique and very special, and I'm looking forward to seeing a new version of Batman. Thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I hope y'all are as excited as I am. So stay tuned for next week. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.